Alright, today we're going to take a look at the Transformers repaint of Bumble Bee here in the form of Cliffjumper and Suppressor. Now this is kind of this is kind of one of the last guys that came from the Transformers Generations dual pack, where you had one of the Legends class Autobots along with almost like a micro changer. That could be a gun, a vehicle of some sort, or bug I guess, with their alt mode and an actual smaller robot. So this is kind of the end, and this one's unique in the fact that you have basically a repeat of Bumblebee, as you can see back here in the term of Cliffjumper, and then Suppressor is a repaint of the little guy that came with Optimus Prime. And what's interesting about that is, if you see for Optimus Prime, he's got some little tabs right here, and this guy's got these little tabs here. And you can put together like that, and that's how you put them together in the combined, kind of combined mode, but you know, you can see it's kind of like a caravan type thing. Whereas with the original one here with Bumblebee, it was a helicopter, but what you can do is you can take off the blades, and the blades actually go in to his wheel on his arm, like this. And see that spin. So it's this kind of little gimmicky thing. Now, my point about this is this guy was a gimmicky thing that went with Bumblebee, whereas this one was a gimmicky one that actually connected to here. So that's kind of the reasoning for this whole brand, was when you put them together, the two that came in the package together, like these two and these two, they combined in some sort of mode, not like a combiner, but you get what I'm saying. They actually fit together. So this is interesting because this does not do that. So as you can see here, they also made Nemesis Prime and Spinster, if you can see that. And again, so basically they took these two guys and they flipped them from how they originally went. So instead of these two and these two, they flipped them, repainted them, and gave them like this. So a little bit different. All right, so let's get in and let's take a look at Cliffjumper. And this guy is pretty much straightforward to transform, so I didn't even have to open him ahead of time. This is an actual opening of my Transformer. I'm doing a poor job too, because I don't like to rip the sides if I can help it. Okay. So, see, there's some nice little artwork there. I mean, that's some pretty cool artwork. You can see it continues on from behind where they were. Then you can also see that it shows the combined gun form that he can hold here, and he comes with, oh, something different. He comes with Optimus Prime's gun. So let's take a look and see what he looks like. Alright, so these guys are kind of nice because there's none of the little twisty ties that hold them in. They just pop directly into their package. Let me pop this guy out as well. Move this stuff off to the side. Okay. So now, move this down a little bit. Okay, so here we have Cliffjumper. He has a nice, it's kind of a matte plastic feeling. It's not like overly slick. You know, Bumblebee's feels a little more slick, but let's go ahead and take this off Bumblebee and we'll compare the two of them. So when comparing them, obviously there is not any retool on here whatsoever. Everything is exactly the same. The only difference is going to be the coloring and then the paint apps. Now, one thing I'm noticing right away is this guy is much stiffer in the legs, which is good. You can see he's not falling backwards. Whereas my Bumblebee, he is a lot looser right here. You see, I can barely get him to hold. There you go. See, I can barely get him to hold up. But let's take a look at the paint apps. Well, for these guys, they both have the same Autobot symbol at the front. You both have the same painting on the sides back there, and they both have this different painting underneath their chest. However, with Cliffjumper, he's got a little extra paint right here along the sides of his arms that Bumblebee doesn't, and he's got a little extra painting right here on his kneecaps where Bumblebee just has a little bit right there. The one place that Bumblebee does have more paint is around his neck right there and on the tips of his feet, which, as you can see, Cliffjumper does not. He's red there. and red there as well. You can see here's his face. He's got a good little face. He's got the little horns that you normally see with Cliffjumper. And now let's go ahead and take a look at some of the how posable he is. So everything is basically ball joints with these guys. So in terms of posability, they're very posable. For the size they are, you can do so much stuff with them. All right, head is locked. There is no head movement whatsoever. It is static. So if you want to turn his head, that is not going to happen. However, shoulder is on a ball joint, can move any way. You can even move this in. Elbow is on a ball joint. You can see you can move this pretty much any way. And due to the transformation, you cannot move the hand. The hand is stuck there. As you can see, this is a pretty big hole in his hand, but this allows him to use all the regular size weapons from the Deluxe and the Voyager class figures. Same thing here with this one. He could do pretty much everything there. You can see he can do some pretty hardcore movements. You can pretty much pose them any way you want to. No waist movement. The waist does not move. However, ball joints at the hips, so he can move those way out. And then there's not a ball joint here, but you can move the knee back and forth, and you can move the foot up and down. So that's pretty good. You have some really good movement and articulation with him. So now let's go ahead. Let's look at this guy first. Okay, so first of all, this is Optimus Prime's gun. I find the gun to be quite bland personally. So in my other one, I actually have painted the inside, which is, I think, gives a little bit of a silver color. I kind of like that. If I do it over again, maybe I do a little darker silver. And then you can see it's also, I have a little bit of a reddish orange on the inside here to make it more look like it's actually firing. Just because sometimes these little black pieces of plastic, they're just a little dull for me. All right, in terms of the little sidekick, you can see he's painted yellow up at the top, and except for the little splash of yellow in his face, which is really not that good. I guess this is not focusing very well. There we go. The face is it's kind of crappy. So basically, here he is in the car. Here he is in the robot. It's a pretty tough transformation. Let me tell you, if you want, you can raise his hands up. But that's pretty much it. You're going to be able to move him. If you want to change him to the gun, then you have to actually dupe in here. And actually, this is the first time there is a ton of paint right here, and that was all painted together. So you move it like this. Now, see, here's his blasters right here. You know, you can use them like this, and this is the handle. But I tell you, this was completely paint shot. See the little paint wear right there? It really got in the way. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the transformation. Transformation, this guy is pretty straightforward. You can see he's pretty much a shell former. You can see the entire car from the back of him. So go ahead and pull this out. You're going to pull these arms back. Oops. Not that far back. Nice thing about ball joints. Snap that back in. Okay. So you're going to pull this whole thing back and bring everything up front, because this is the front of his car right here, and you can see this right here. So you go ahead and let's go ahead and just peg his legs in together. Act like I've done this before, and then move the hood of the car down. Okay, so this piece will come up. You can see it comes right there, and it'll snap in. Now rotate the arms like this. Now you can see right here they don't really reach, so what you do is you pull this piece off. You see this whole thing kind of goes in there. Pull this out, and like that, and what it does is it snaps the hand back. Now you have this long thing, which is the entire side of the car, and that thing just tabs right in. So you can just go ahead and tab that in. So it's the same thing on the other side. Pull this guy out, the whole thing will snap back in like that. Again, you have the whole side of the car again. Just bring that, tab it back in. So there you go. So here's the car. And that's pretty cool. So let's go ahead and do Bumblebee quick, and we'll compare the two of them. And again, it's the exact same transformation. and I just felt his wheel fall off. This guy's wheel has fallen off from day one. Okay, so they're good little cars. One thing I don't like is the back, and that is right here. You can see inside here, and you can see that there's part of the transformation back in there, and I don't really like that. But except for that, it looks pretty good. So let's take a look at the paint apps. Obviously on this side, there's a way more paint apps on Cliffjumper, and that's usually the way that this stuff goes, right? Because when you have the release of the second iteration, you need enough to make it different from the first to make it worth somebody's while, so you put extra paint apps on. So this one's got some black, it's got some purple. On the front, they're pretty much the same, just different colors. This guy Bumble Bee has just silver for the lights. He has silver and yellow for his lights. And the front is painted the same in terms of the silver. And the back is also the same, just different colors, but you can see they have the same paint apps on the back. So now, because you cannot plug him into the back of him like you would for Optimus Prime, if you want to carry this guy together, which is kind of the reason you got these, is because they kind of fit together pretty cool. You can plug him onto the top, and then you got to put the gun somewhere. So you see there's this little tab this little holder right here. That fits directly in the top of this, so you can put it like that. If you don't think that looks too crazy, if you want, can you put it underneath? No, you cannot put it underneath. There's not enough room there. So basically, if you want to carry it with you, you're going to be carrying it like that, and it's going to look like a big old freaking blaster on the top of a car. So I do like this guy. Obviously, I like him because I bought him. I did not go for the Nimbus Prime, but I do wish that this would be able to fit on this somehow. If they had at least done a little retool on the back here, just put some little slits in there, so this guy could have, you know, piggybacked up, like Bumble Bee's guy could have, and the Optimus Primes could have. So you could have had something like this. I mean, this is nothing all that special, but if you want them together, you know, see, they can at least caravan together like this, and that doesn't. Yes, it looks weird, but it doesn't look as weird as this. Anyway, I liked it. I found it for about $8.99, so I thought it was well worth it. Anyway, this is the Generations Cliffjumper and Suppressor. This was for the Legends series, and it's the repaint of Bumble Bee and Optimus Prime's little guy, and I had the name, but I can't remember anymore. So anyway, please like this video, subscribe to my channel. I have a lot of Transformers videos, and I'm bringing up new ones all the time. All right, thanks a lot.